What's up, everyone? It's Rob DeBoer. I put a video out a few days ago that people seem to get a lot out of, and I want to encourage you with it, so I wanted to reshoot it and make it public so you could share it with others. And it really talks about why the scale is a terrible measure of success, creates a false positive and a false negative. First of all, going into it, we need to understand this. There's a margin of error of +5, both negative and positive. In other words, there's a margin of error of 10 pounds. That falls right within what's allowed. In other words, you could be 3 pounds lighter and 6 pounds heavier within a matter of days, and that would fall within a clear reading. And very few of you, if any of you, come to me falling outside of that 10-point margin of error. In other words, you don't come to me and say, gosh, Rob, I lost 9 pounds and then I gained 4 back. No, it's usually I lost 4 and gained 2 back. I lost 6 and gained 1, or I gained 3 and lost 7, okay? So everything that falls within that 10-pound, 10-point margin of error is completely acceptable. So how many of you get discouraged when you do fall within that margin of error, even though it's accepted as reality, right? You've gained 3 pounds in the last 7 days. Well, that's not real weight, and we're going to explain why. For those of you that are determined to use the scale, you can't do it but every 30 days. And when you do it every 30 days, specifically women with your menstrual cycle, you need to approach that weigh-in the same way every single time. And I know none of you, I'm going to make this claim, none of you have gotten on the scale day 1 for your first weigh-in, remembering what you did the prior 3 or 4 days when it came to food, seasonings. What were you wearing? What time of day? Did you have a bowel movement? Did you drink diuretics like coffee or caffeine? Did you track those things 3 days prior to even stepping on that scale? Was the scale a cheap bathroom scale? Was it in the exact same spot? Was it dialed in with the exact same balance? And the answer is no. I believe that if you're not following really the best protocol possible with a home bathroom scale or even the scale at your gym, if you want to get any measure of success, you need to pay attention to body composition and you need to give it time. Don't create unrealistic time frames. Let me give you the greatest example. A lot of people talk about this fat flush or the water whoosh. I want you to think about this. Let's just pretend there's a 6-week time frame. You're following a protocol. It's creating an energy deficit. You swear, Rob, I'm doing everything you told me, and you know what? My clothes don't fit any different. I hate it when people say, well, just watch how your clothes fit over the next couple of weeks. They might be tighter. They may not be looser. The scale may not be budging, and here's why. When we lose body fat, which is the goal, when we lose body fat, we don't lose fat cells. Fat cells don't go away unless you have liposuction. All right, unless you just cut that fat out, it's not going away. Those fat cells will shrink over the course of time. So follow me here. Let's say this is your fat cell. And over the first 3 weeks, that fat cell has lost half of its triglycerides. Half of the fat in that fat cell has left your body. But you don't see that on the scale. You don't see it on your clothes, because that fat cell, where you lost half of it, fills up with water. Even though water is a non-nutritive caloric value, it still has a mass weight to it. So where that fat was lost, it was replaced with water until your body realizes we're not going to get any more fat. Now it's okay to shrink. And almost overnight, there's this phenomena where all of a sudden you lost 6 pounds overnight. You lost 6 pounds overnight. Why? Because that fat cell finally shrank to represent the fat that you've been losing over the last 6 weeks. So if you're someone that hasn't given this 6, 8, 12 weeks, you're never going to see the final result if you're following a protocol that honestly creates an energy deficit over the course of time. And here's what's so frustrating as a trainer, as someone that's coached people through nutrition, through creating realistic lifestyle programs. It doesn't matter if we create a program that works, it's what works for you long term within realistic time frames plugging into a realistic lifestyle. If we can't do that, it's a waste of your time, it's a waste of our time. Just like The Biggest Loser is a waste of their time. Do less or eat less, do more. Yes, it works, but it can't be sustained. That's why they're suing the television show. So, let me say this. The biggest frustration is when someone throws in the towel after 3 weeks, says it's not working, I've actually gained weight. What if that weight was actually water replacing the fat that you did lose, that you want to lose, but you never recognized you lost because it was replaced with water weight? Until 3 weeks later, when you finally were going to see the fat loss that you lost over the last 6 weeks, or the last 3 weeks, you finally see it on the scale, or were going to see it, but you threw in the towel 3 weeks too early. That's the struggle. That's why the scale is the worst measure of success. If you are going to measure success over the course of time, it can't be outside, or it can't be inside of 30 days. Body composition programs, the DEXA scan, as accurate as that may be, that's not a body composition test. That's to test bone density, and that's one of the gold standards in testing body composition. Water analysis, calipers, bioelectrical impedance machines like the InBody 570, I've used that. All of those are great, but nothing will beat the way you look in the mirror over the course of time with realistic time frames. That's true measure of success. That's what you need to focus on, and that's why you need to stay the course. So hopefully this encourages you. Get rid of the scale. Don't pay attention to short, limited time frames. Don't allow yourself to stress because your clothes aren't fitting different, because that's not the best indicator even in a couple of weeks. So many trainers, so many people, while they mean well, that's misinformation. Just because your clothes don't fit differently 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even 4 weeks from now, doesn't mean you're not losing body fat, just means you're not losing the weight mass of water. And then this phenomena overnight, it happens. All of that body fat you've lost over the last 6 weeks finally reveals itself. That's the key. Give yourself a chance. Don't self-sabotage your results. And I promise you, I've been doing this for 2 decades. I promise you, stick to a program that creates an energy deficit. Don't step on a scale. Don't worry about how your clothes fit, and give it 6, 8, 12 weeks. Plan for success 100% of the time, because we're adhering to science, and if we apply it and believe it, it works 100% of the time. Hope that helps.